I'm Yaara, and I'm going to talk to you about the uncovering the treasure under the screen. I call this treasure the secret language of play. I can guess that here in this room there are people who speak more than 15 different languages altogether. But when I say language, I don't mean only the spoken or written language. There are other kinds of languages. In order to understand the secret language of play, I want to give you 2 examples of other kinds of language. Let's start with the first one. This is my mom. She was only 21 when the doctor told her, "You are going to have a big baby." When she gave birth, the nurse said, "Congratulations, you have a girl." But just a moment, here comes another one. Another girl. The other one was me, the taste one. It was a big surprise for my parents who didn't expect twins. This is my son, Shaked. 6 months before he was born, I knew he was a boy. These are my daughters, Oren, Rimon, and Deke. The ultrasound scan is a language. I don't understand these black and white pictures, but the doctor knows how to translate them. This language was developed mainly to identify defects or problems with the fetus. Our 5 senses are not enough to identify these problems. The ultrasound language gives us the knowledge that helps us to make choices, especially if there are problems. And these choices are very difficult. Let's look at the second example, which also deals with a difficult choice. We are all familiar with this subject. Food. Imagine that you've forgotten everything you know about food. Would it change your choices? Can we make a healthy choice if we use only our 5 senses? So scientists took food and put it under the microscope to check the ingredients and develop a language that we call nutrition, which gives us knowledge about vitamins, calories, fibers, fats, etc. So also in food, our 5 senses are not enough. We need the language of nutrition, which gives us the knowledge that helps us to make choices, especially if there are problems. So if it's necessary to have language for understanding food, shouldn't we have a language to better understand play? Here are some children playing. We see them playing and enjoying themselves. We hear them, but how do we know what is best for them? How do we know which skills they are developing? How do we know if they are getting the full nutritional value that they need? Just as we would with food, we need to check different kinds of play under the microscope to learn about their ingredients. And then we can reveal a list of ingredients. Here are only a few of them: communication, safety, trial and error, risk-taking, identifying opportunity, coping with challenge, creative thinking, and more. But it's not enough. We need to give parents and children a kids menu, which helps them to translate this language to our daily lives. Imagine that your children's schedule would look like this. Imagine these are life skills that would be focused and developed daily. This schedule concerns our desire as parents to give our children a rich toolbox in significant life skills, not just knowledge. And just like food, our five senses are not enough. We need a secret language of play which gives us the knowledge that helps us to make the right choices, especially if there are problems. Let's look at an example. If I ask you what this is, before you know the language of play, you will probably say a swing. And if you see a child swinging, you might add fun, pleasure. But after you learn the secret language of play, after you uncover the treasure under the swing, when you see this swing, you may recognize many more values and benefits, like independence, balance, coordination, muscle strengthening, spatial and perception, and more. By using this secret language, we can change our attitude toward play. And from now on, we won't just say he's swinging, and we will say now he is developing many different skills. Here are my children skipping with a rope. They are not only playing, they are also cooperating, considering each other, coping with failure, strengthening their muscles, developing eye-leg coordination, and practicing successful timing. Just as we have on all food products, imagine if there was a similar table of a nutritional value on every game that children play or on every piece of equipment in the playground. So parents could be more selective about the kind of play that their children need. Here are some more examples. Playing with sand. The nutritional table on the bucket would show us sensory activity, learning about different materials, cooperation, and more. Cycling on bicycle or unicycle, as I do. Here the table on the bicycle might indicate high level of balancing, develop a vestibular system, spatial orientation, coordination. Climbing on a ladder, the table would reveal organization and planning, coping with challenge, muscle strengthening, and all of this activity that happen outside give the child also vitamin D. Why it is so important to understand the secret language of play? For two reasons. The awareness of parents and playground planners. Let's start with the parents. Many parents, when they see pictures like this, see the dark side of play, the dangerous aspect, the possible scraped knees, the thumb hit by a hammer or falling from height. So they prefer their children to stay at home where it is safer. Today, our houses are full of electronic temptations that cause children to sit opposite screens for hours with very little or even no physical activity at all. Playing outside is essential activity, and we need to give parents tools that will help them to do this. I want to ask you a question. How would you shorten this red line without touching it?
Turn it. Back up. Forward it. Back up.
What?
Back up.
Back up?
If you back up, it's much shorter.
Oh, no, it's very simple. We simply draw a longer line next to it. Now we have a point of reference, so the red line seems shorter. The red line represents dangers, injuries, pain, and lawsuits, and they will continue to happen in every place where children play. What do we do when it is dark? We don't fight the darkness. We simply turn on the light. The light and the green line represent the benefits of playing. And when we raise awareness of the benefits, the negative aspect of play becomes less negative. So it's important to put these things in perspective. When writing my guidebook, a small guidebook for parents, The Treasure Under the Swing, you can read it in Hebrew if you want. My goal was to provide parents with the tools and the unique understanding of the value of playing in the playground, which is the same principle in all kinds of play, and to show them how to get much more value from playtime just by changing their perspective and changing their attitude, or in other words, changing their glasses. I met here in the last few days a lot of people from different countries, and I'm very surprised to hear that nobody wrote a guidebook for parents. And I understand that I have to translate it to English, but it's a big mission for me. For the child, it is play, but for us, it is about skills, benefits, learning abilities, and many other values. Injuries are visible. We see the accident, we hear the pain, and we can measure the severity. But how can we measure how well the child develops his balance or spatial perception or other values from this schedule? So here we have an unfair comparison between the dangers and the benefit, which could affect parents' awareness. It is not secret that, generally speaking, most people consider studying and working to be much more important than playing. You may be familiar with these sentences that parents often say to their children: enough playing, now go and study, or he's just playing. Without saying it, parents emphasize the fact that play is their children's least important activity. So it's essential to raise parents' awareness of the importance of play and the nutritional value of it for the development of the child. Now regarding playground planners. 12 years ago, I wrote my thesis for my master's degree in industrial design at the Technion on the following subject: adapting play equipment to the needs and behavior of children. This was the first study about playgrounds in Israel, and I discovered that many playgrounds didn't meet the children's very important needs. I was very naive in thinking that the manufacturers and landscape architects who planned the playground understood the needs and behavior and had the children's best interest at heart when they planned the playground. But I found that I was wrong. 7 years ago, I decided to check the kids' menu in a neighborhood playground in greater depth. I wanted to know which playground equipment was available for the children and if it provided a balanced nutritional value for them. I did a survey of 700 playgrounds all over Israel, and I want to share with you one of my most significant findings. Only 5% of the playground had parallel bars. Only 3%. Only 5% had handy rings. Only 10% had bars, and only 16% had horizontal ladder or monkey bars. The sad consequence is that about 80% of Israeli children are not exposed on a daily basis to equipment that encourages them to hang by their hands to strengthen the shoulder muscles. In Israel, manufacturers prefer to create large playgrounds that are impressive and visible from afar, and the best interests of the child are not important to them. They don't know this secret language, and I can even say that they don't want to know it. These 4 examples are very cheap to manufacture, but they prefer to install more expensive and showy items. You may have seen my poster about preparing for the first grade in the playground, where I demonstrate the connection between strengthening the shoulder muscle, seat stability, and a good pencil grip. These are some of the basic conditions for successful learning. A lot of parents are not aware of this connection, and they prefer their children to learn, read and write instead of playing outside. I know that children can hang from other objects, but if the playground planners and the decision makers are not aware of the importance of this activity, they won't put this specific equipment in public playgrounds, schoolyard or kindergarten. It is not enough for children to just be active for a minimum of hour a day as recommended by the World Health Organization. Children need to engage in several different activities which give them the nutritional value they need and a balanced experience. It is our duty as professionals to supply practical and simple information about how playing contributes to children's health, to their success, to studying, and to their social skills in order to provide tools for examining playing and to select playground or other playing options that can equip children with a rich toolbox for life. This is my motto, and if you have some difficulty reading it, come to me after the presentation and I will give you my card, which you can fold on the lines, and by the way you develop fine motor, and in doing so, reveal my motto. In conclusion, we have talked about the power of language, which includes knowledge and choices. We discussed the importance of attitude regarding the nutritional value of play, and this is. Thank you very much.
I don't think I'll ever look at play again now without considering the nutritional value.
It'll be it'll just be a different perspective for us. Questions for Yaara?
Have you thought about marketing those nutritional cards? Because those are so powerful.
Yes. I put it in the Facebook 2 years ago, before I published my book, and a lot of people share it. And someone asked, "Where is the kindergarten that children learn in this from this schedule?" So it was a kind of joke, but I understood that it's so important, and because of this, I put it in the back of the cover of the book. So I understand this is the main issue.
They're brilliant.
Yeah, they are. Trademark that right away.
I was just wondering if we could have permission to reproduce your nutritional notes, because we work with teen parents, and we're like, what an amazing way to express to them the importance of play. So when their children are getting dirty, they're not just getting dirty, they're learning all of these.
So what do you want?
We'd like to make a little nutrition.
Okay. It will be in the website.
Okay.
And also I can
We'll cite you as
what I think about.
Yeah, we'll cite you.
If you want.
I was just going to express my extreme disappointment that this wasn't already available in English. Right? That I want to have.
I need only $10,000 translate it. It's cost me a lot of money to publish it in Hebrew, so I maybe it's in Amazon.
I think you should explore it.
To put it like this.
I think we have another question too, Yaara.
Okay. So
I just want to know the website. It's not the card.
What?
The website?
So you will put this on the conference website?
On the conference website.
I think we all want to start, right?
So any questions for any of our speakers? You have no questions, Yaara? Okay.
I just have a comment. I mean, I've been at the conference for the whole time, and this has been just an incredible, motivational, exciting, really practical, just take-home message about what's great to include on nature, and then we had this incredible inspirational story of what the challenges you're taking on trying to instill change in an entire nation. And then Yaara's hilarious, fabulous talk. I just really appreciate it.
So we had another question for you.
On our website, yeah. No, there's
Question. You had another question? Sorry? No?
She's one of those.
I just wanted to. She just wanted to. We have one more.
I'll shoot a card. Yaara. So Yaara, did this evolve as you had your children? Yeah,
It's in
Yaara.
the book.
Did this evolve with you because you started out as a landscape architect? Or can you tell us your educational growth path?
And the journey to get to
journey,
this.
yeah, the journey that got you to this.
I'm brilliant. I think that I see outside the box.
Yes.
And I see above the play, what the value of it.
But they're connected to something like a nutritional card that we all know about and we all look at. It's just that it makes that connection. In one way, it's brilliant in its simplicity because it's something that we all look at and we all know about. But then to relate it to something like play, to give us an analogy and a way to make it more relevant, I think, for everybody, that's brilliant.
And just like a menu, you have an adult menu and a kid's menu. I think a child would maybe, let's say, doesn't like the climbing bars. They think in their mind they don't, or someone told them they're not very good, but then if they realize, oh, this is going to help me for all these other reasons, that attracts.
And in the book, if someone finished to understand what my motto is, play today and succeed tomorrow. And what I done in the book, I show parents the future, how jobs like even sport. To succeed in sport or even in scientists or in business, we need a lot of skills. And the same skills we need to our job in the future, we can start developing in playground in the young age.
I'm just going to make a comment that yesterday in our session we had a really interesting conversation about why it's curious that the parents are quite willing to put their kids into organized sports and accept the risks associated with that, concussions or injuries or whatever, but they hesitate to allow risky free play. And we sort of came to the conclusion that they realize the benefits of organized sport, and the teamwork and the
because someone tell them the benefits because they give money, they get money for it. Nobody get money for it.
And then she can publish a book.
I wanted to compliment you because I think this is what parents need to see. They need to see in simple form all the different benefits. It's not just social interaction. It's not just getting outside. There's a whole list of different benefits that they get from this type of play.
And then understand why we need to create our playgrounds, right, as Ethan showed us, and then how to play with our children, right, and nutritional.
They have to show them the
But I think in any of the work that we've all done with parents, it's when we give them something in really simple, straightforward terms, that's when we see change. Not when I give them the elaborate brain science as to why this is important. It's when they see what you just did there. And that's why we're all so excited. Oh my God, that's so simple that they get it, and they're going to change everything.
So back to your point, to show them what children are doing on the playground and how that supports them to succeed as they move forward into school and beyond into their adult life. Like, what an eye-opener that would be, I think, for a lot of people, not only parents.
Just a comment. I also think that we have parents now who have grown up without those kind of play experiences. So, like, I can reference those. I can think of my childhood playing with a lot of those things. But for some parents today, they don't have those play experiences. So I think it's even more important that we help them to understand the benefits so that they can help support that for their children. And again, you've just done that so beautifully. It's marvelous.
So the inspiration, the passion, and the advocacy that we felt in this room and experienced from that Yaara, we need to bring forward. So thank you to all of us. So you have a little more time for a play break. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of the conference.